Okay, man. Christian Hand, welcome to the Arcade Studio podcast.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
Cool, man. Yeah, you're also having coffee. We just finished ours, even though like we're in total different time
Yeah, I'm not going to sleep
zones.
tonight for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, you'll be up until 4 in the morning probably.
That's all right. It's perfect. Yeah, it's wicked. So, man, well, I've just discovered you because this one has just passed me your link from the KLOS sessions.
Yep.
I've been binging those quite a bit now, which has been really awesome because the way that you break down songs is incredible. Like I have to say, it's like it really it opens the horizons of the experience, especially for somebody. I'm an audiophile, but I'm not a technician in any way. So like when I hear this kind of thing, I'm like, oh, this is the building blocks. You know, it makes it really, really interesting.
Right.
How did you find those tracks? Is it something that's simple to do, or
the internet is the Wild West.
Right. Okay.
I think that's going to be the quote.
There it is. That's my answer every time. Everyone's like, dude, like, where did you? I'm like, the internet is the Wild West. There's a lot of things in Russia that we don't know about and things that we do.
Cool. That's like adds mystique to everything, which is really cool. But I mean, like one of the things that I like, one of the first ones before I found out about the actual like KLOS sessions, which is really hard to say.
Yeah,
actually. But I mean, the first interview I saw was the one, I can't remember the guy's name, the Rage Against the Machine interview.
Garth.
Yeah, Garth. Yeah,
Garth. Yeah, what a fucking lovely guy he is.
And that was just like, that blew me away, just how everything was like so raw and like recorded in one single like room. And then I went back to listen to the album and I was like, holy shit, like you can actually feel the energy in it. And like I'm sure you have like the same kind of like moments where you say, holy shit, like, wow, I can't believe they did it that way. Like, was there one in particular where you're like, I can't believe they recorded this track in this way, or like this instrument in that way?
I think the one that Pierre always asks, like, what was the one that was the biggest surprise for me is the Bob Seger Hollywood Nights. Like the first time that I took that to pieces and listened to it, it was like just a complete revelation of a song that, it's a great song. And then when you find the story and then you hear the performances and then you realize the machinations of that thing, it's so much deeper and bigger than you at first listen. And that to me is like the grandest one. The one that I've done recently that was a real mind blow was actually Slave to the Rhythm by Grace Jones, which is the most substantial recording that I've taken apart like that yet. And I've been doing this for like 6 years, and it was the first one where I was not the first one, but the one where I was genuinely absolutely flabbergasted at what I was hearing. It's Trevor Horn is the producer on that thing. He was the lead singer of the Buggles, the video count the radio. So he's the lead singer of that. And his to me it's like his Citizen Kane. Like it's absolutely everything that he does I mean, he also did like Frankie Goes to Hollywood. He did Yes, the Owner of a Lonely Heart record, Yes 90125, and even all those things are eclipsed by this record. So there's been a few where you always know that the Beatles are going to blow your mind. You always know, and the other one that the band that I champion, trying to get people to truly understand how brilliant they are, is the Bee Gees, which is probably the most misunderstood band in all of music history.
I'm a fan of the Bee Gees.
Yeah, because
they're amazing.
They got stuck in that kind of like acute like voice chipmunky thing. But even those songs, like you can hear like the production value behind it is like so amazing, and it's catchy for a reason.
I mean, I've done more of those probably on Instagram now than any other one, and every single time I do it, it is an absolute blinder of a revelation, especially Maurice or Morris, depending on how you want to pronounce it, the brother who played bass. I mean, his bass playing is fucking shockingly brilliant every single time. Every single time, it's just like, what is this? Where is he coming from with this? Yeah. So, there's that band and then a couple of songs. But I derive a huge amount of joy from all of them. That's the great part about the job.
Has it ever happened that you went into one with great expectations and you were let down? That it was actually just like normal? So it's like great songs all come from with great foundations, basically.
Yeah, I think that the ones that you expect to be incredible usually are. I have had some where I've been like, oh, this is going to be cool. Like I just did Brass in Pocket this morning on KLOS, and that the first time we did that on Instagram, it blew our minds because it appears so simple. And then when you take it to pieces, it's so complex and there's so many choices that are completely tangential. And you think it's just going to be one guitar part. Another one was the Police Message in a Bottle, which has been my least favorite Police song. And then when you went into that and found out like what, the chords are actually doing, it's so much more three-dimensional than at first listen. So I've yet to be let down by one. Hopefully never. Fingers crossed.
It just gives
that would be shitty.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, but
it's a tough day at the office.
I was thinking because it could happen where it's just like not phoned in, but because the everything was like played by phenomenal musicians and the singers are great and whatever, that maybe the final product is like amazing, but the single pieces that make it together could perhaps have been. This is just a thought I had today while I was listening to some of the pieces. I was like, I wonder if that ever happens, because I think it does happen with photography.
Like you get that one guy who's like the substitute that the guitar player couldn't make it that day, and it's like, okay, let's just the volume down.
You end up with that. I mean, usually, most bands are, you're putting, if a song makes it out of the barn, it's generally because the band has signed off on it.
Yeah.
So, it's, I think there are definitely, I know songs that I've even spoken to bands that I know of that have said, that's certainly not the thing that we're most proud of, but it's still got the job done. And, I think that there is, there can be a level of, sort of self-deprecation in those terms, but most of the time the songs and the stories are so, they're so intertwined that it's really hard to find a song that is a complete letdown. Like I did that fucking I'm blue, I did that song like fucking 2 months ago on Instagram, and even those tracks and the way that thing was constructed is really, really smart and getting a job done.
That's some Italian love right there. That's Italian.
Yeah, Eiffel 65.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, that one DJ is still going. Like Gabri Ponte is still going. He always like gets the party rocking at any like event.
Oh, I'm sure.
Still now, yeah. He's got like those. He just has it. He's like one of those guys.
Bangers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, how did you get into this whole thing? Because like you were in the music business for a while. Like you did something that I have no idea what it actually is, like a stage manager for the Gravediggers. And that was in your bio. And but how was your professional career? How was your voyage, your trip?
Oh, it's been the fucking Hearts of Darkness journey up the river. I always, from a very young age, I think most artists are impacted pretty early with the thing that strikes them, and then they try to make a living out of, and so pretty early on, music was really big in my house. My dad's an audiophile and a very, liberal listener. So we always had tons of sounds coming out of my dad's stereo. And, being in England at the time that I was in England, which was, 76 or 75 through 83 was a really rich time to be in the UK. Mm-hmm. So there was so much music around, and I started playing drums and was making, I had a tape deck that had a record with a little microphone. So I'd do these pretend radio shows. And I loved radio from a very early age. Listening to people like Kenny Everett and Noel Edmonds in the UK, like just geniuses of radio. So I always wanted to do radio, and then I came to America and was, lucky enough to once again catch a really cool period of music with MTV starting, and then also, American AOR at that time. There was some great, bands, Boston, and all the cool fucking bands coming out of the Northeast of America. So once again, I was still surrounded by great music, and I was playing in bands. And then when I left to go to college, I went to go and be a set designer for theater, and then promptly dropped out, but went back to the same school and became the GM I was the technical director and one of the 3 heads of the radio station at my college. And I thought that was my radio career done. And then leaving, I went out on the road with a group called PM Dawn, and then toured with them for a little bit, and then went to work for their record label, which was called G Street, which was part of Island, which also had a band called the Stereo MCs on it, which was fucking awesome. I'm gonna get myself connected, those guys, and Dougie Fresh and the Jungle Brothers, and then the Gravediggers, which was Prince Paul, Poetic, and Fruquam from Stetsasonic, and Prince Paul had also done like Me, Myself, and I from from De La Soul and a bunch of records, and the RZA right before the Wu-Tang Clan blew up. So I went on the road with them. And I, was working at this record label, got offered a pretty sizable promotion and turned it down and quit because, one of the problems for me was that I worked in each aspect of the music industry, and it wasn't long before I realized that actually the least important part of anyone's discussion was the fucking music. It was it was the last thing that anyone cared about. And I was like, man, that seems fucking weird because this is supposed to be all about the music. And I don't really know why you don't give a shit about music if you're here. So I left and started working at a local music, like a live music venue. And through that, met the kids that worked at the local radio station, throwing the T-shirts out. Went and worked doing that for a little bit. Jumped on the first opportunity to get on the air, got on the radio. Came out to LA. They transferred me out to LA to be on the radio out here. Then that station flipped format. So I was fired from that job. Couple of other gigs. Went and worked in music videos. I worked on like the Hey Ya video by Outkast and a bunch of like really big music videos, which was dope. And didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't want to tour anymore. And so I started sort of making records because I was in that Hummer band, which you knew from the 411 videos, which was, a really such a cool experience because when I was on Long Island in the, mid 80s, we would get these fucking video cassettes of like the Bones Brigade guys all fucking, doing surf skating in, LA to like Agent Orange and Husker Du songs and all that. And to then be the soundtrack to videos that were going around the world that guys like you were seeing was like such a fucking cool thing to be able to do. And we didn't realize until YouTube just how far reaching those videos went. Like we didn't know that they were going all around the fucking world because it's so many kids in it because it was pre-internet. That's why there were video cassettes.
Yeah. Like that was my first, it was a 411 issue 42. That was like the first skate video I ever bought. And it was the first song so that is like ingrained in my mind for like, I wake up in the middle of the night sometimes like thinking of that, like that first riff. Cause like, then I have like, when I think of the song, I see the images of like,
amazing.
So it's like, it's crazy. And then it was so hard to find back in the day. We could only find like, Don't and Hard Headed. I think it was on Napster or something. You couldn't like not even thinking about like the EP. You could never find that. But it was like one of those songs that you can never find during the years. Like I tried like once a year, like just to see maybe they put it on Spotify or something. Nothing. And then like I came across your YouTube comment. I was like, holy shit, this guy's actually really reaching out to people. Holy shit, this guy actually has like a really cool like job, man. Let's talk to him.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really because basically the chick that did that placed all the music on the 411 videos was a huge fan. And she was like, hey, would you guys let us use your music? And we were like, fuck yeah, of course. So that groundswell, knowing that we had these video cassettes that traveled the world, and we didn't really understand until YouTube, because then, one of the guys in the band was like, yo, somebody, because none of us from the band put those videos up. And none of us from the band put the songs up. And so I think it was the bass player, Adam, like sent me the link one day and was like, yo, somebody's put hummmr on YouTube. And then I went on and looked through the comments, and there was so many, amazing comments from people. Excuse the noise. My neighborhood is on fire every day because of the fucking, it's crazy. This sirens are madness. So we had no clue. So seeing people telling me like how much that song meant to them, and, what it did for like such a specific time in their lives, because they were 17, 18, 4. And I was like, it was really, really, it was a beautiful day to see that, and people asking, could they get the songs? And I was like, yeah, I'll just send you the fucking EP via an email. It's so easy, That was dope, man. That was really dope. And that was like really cool. Like just so people know, I reached out to him on YouTube. He responded you responded like super quickly, like in a matter of minutes. And then you gave me an email address. I wrote through the email address, and you gave me not only the hummmr EP, you also gave me a solo project called the Jet Morgans. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's pretty cool, man. This guy's awesome. So yeah, man, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, basically the record labels, we were it was such a cliched story. We were like the hot band in LA that everybody wanted to sign. And I'd never sung in a band before. I was always the drummer. So I suddenly found myself the lead singer of this fucking band that everybody wanted to sign. And every meeting that we had with these fucking labels, I hated the people that I sat with, because they were just such fucking scumbags and so high on their own fucking, the gas of their own careers. And the band just disintegrated, which sucked. And then coming out of that was when I did the Jet Morgans record, and I sort of taught myself. That was the first thing I'd ever produced myself. And I taught myself how to use Pro Tools and how to mix. And I did that record, and through that I just started making records with people, and indie records in Cali. And I was also working on music videos and starting to get a bit of a name for myself as a producer. And through that, when you'd go to a recording studio, you'd be hanging out, and the engineer and you'd be sitting there, and you'd get a level of trust with each other. And the guy would look at you and be like, all right, dude, I got like 3 Who songs and 2 Stevie Wonders and 4 Beatles. What do you got? And you'd be like, all right, I got like 3 Fleetwood Mac and 2 fucking Panteras. And we would just trade these masters. And over, a few years, I built a pretty sizable collection. And then I was working at Sirius, which is the satellite radio network. Yeah. And I started doing just vocals on a skater by the name of Jason Ellis. I was on the radio with him. We started doing just vocals on his show. And then I left Sirius. And when I started working at a classic rock station here, I began doing the full songs. And through that, had the idea, after going to see a dude do a pretty rough Beatles lecture, which was just so fucking painful to sit through. But I noticed that every single time, because he was just basically, it was a presentation. So he had no emotion in it. He'd done it like 20 fucking times or 100 times. But every time he played pieces of the songs, when he would just do little snippets, I noticed the whole audience completely re-engage. And I was like, oh, maybe there is something. So I basically had the radio station that I work at. I had them book my friends. My friend had a really beautiful rehearsal studio that I could get about 200 people in, great PA, lights, 2 screens that had the Pro Tools window up on it. And I just, on the air, gave away 200 tickets because I knew that people wouldn't buy tickets to a show. They had no fucking clue what I was doing. So I bought 200. I paid for 200 tickets to be given away and sat and walked out on stage. And from the minute that I sat down, I knew that this is what I was supposed to be doing. It's like a completely improv show. It's totally unscripted. So that when I do, even if I do, like I've done Bohemian Rhapsody probably 15 times. It's a 2-hour show for that song. And I still haven't done the perfect version of it because I'm trying to work out how to do it. So that way it still stays fresh for me, even though I might do a song a few times. And that's what I was doing before COVID hit. I was doing shows in LA, New York, Chicago, and San Francisco every weekend.
Wow. It's massive.
Which is a lot. Basically, I'd have to do it as an indie band and go to each city and start at like 20 people in a friend's house. So and then do that for like
basically touring again.
It was exactly so. I mean, it wasn't. I was looking at it like an indie band. If I did a friend's living room, my friend had a house in San Fran that I could get about 40 people into their living room. So I did that for like 4 months, once a month, which got me to about enough people on an email list that I could now do 200 people in San Francisco. And then once I got to 200 people in San Francisco, then I moved to New York to get 200 people. I got New York to where I was getting 200 people, and I had just started doing San Francisco. But it's a lengthy process because nobody can really say what I do. Like, it's really impossible to be. Well, he has tracks that make up songs, and he talks you through it, and it sounds so fucking horribly boring. It's the worst elevator pitch on the planet. Yeah. And then you go and see it, and people are like, "Oh, this is the thing the guy is fucking doing. This makes way more sense." Yeah, so one of the nice things about Instagram is it's allowed me to really have a much bigger audience without having to leave my apartment. So I feel like, the COVID thing, much as it has really been very, very difficult for everyone, and certainly really difficult for me, has had this really beautiful upside that people are able to experience what I do in a really simple way, so that the word has traveled, so that when I come out of COVID, there's a much bigger audience now waiting for me than there was prior.
But that's the thing that was that we both noticed as well, because we both worked on our personal projects during the major lockdown that we had last year, because Italy has sort of been in and out of these like semi-lockdowns the whole way through. But the first one was the big one where everybody was closed indoors. And we all said, okay, rather than try and produce material and put it out to the world, we're going to figure out how to prepare for the post-COVID world, sort of thing.
Right.
So I put a book together. He's like playing music and
I got like into music again. Yeah,
drawing cartoons and just like learning skills basically, and just things that don't necessarily have to be shown, but they can be, they're there in building a framework, and which is, I guess, what you're doing. Because if the problem was that people weren't understanding the project, now they understand it. So now it's really easy to go to a city and probably go to Nashville and say, look, I'm going to do a Southern music breakdown, and like you'll have people through the doors. So
I mean, I have people in now, I have people in cities that are now waiting for me to show up, and I might not get 200 people, but the thing I'm completely cool with doing is going and doing it for 20 people, because what's interesting is that each of the different size rooms is a completely different experience for me. Mm-hmm. Doing it for 20 people is like the equivalent of a jazz club. Doing it for 200 people feels like a bigger venue. Doing it for 500 people feels like fucking, I'm in an arena. So each of the venues is a different size show for me as a host. And when you do it for 20 people, the level of intimacy in that is so much greater, because those 20 people can make eye contact with you and you can see their reactions. When I do it in New York, my friend has a high-end audio shop, so I get to do it on a Macintosh system that's not like almost $400,000 stereo system. So you're getting to hear these things in like this really incredible way that you would never be able to hear music if you didn't have access to this particular thing. And then there's another venue I do in LA, which is like 300 people, and it's a huge PA, beautiful screen, massive stage, and it's like a rock show. I do like a smoke machine and lasers and the whole 9 yards. So it's a completely different version, and it's a completely different experience for me as well. So this COVID thing has allowed me to like pepper cities around the country and populations around the country that I never would have prior. And also it has raised the profile of the people, like my chat room now has, Nile Rodgers showed up the other day, the people who are making the music are in the rooms. Donna Summer's kids were in the other day. Bob Marley's kids were in the other day. Jimmy Jam is, one of has become a good friend through this experience. John Mayer has introduced me to a bunch of people. So it's also raised my profile in the industry in a way that I never would have been able to. I mean, I would have been able to do it prior, but it would have taken me another 5 years to do it. Whereas in this, it's like people are much more aware of what I'm doing than they ever were prior. So, it's been really rewarding. And I was really concerned going into it that I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? Like, I can't do live shows. I can't do anything. Like, all I'm doing is once a week on the radio. And I stopped doing that because I was concerned about the COVID protocols at the radio station. So I was really concerned. And basically, one cable changed my life. And once I realized that I could plug a USB mixer into the bottom of my phone and get high quality audio to come out the other end, I was off to the fucking races.
Yeah, that's like one of the big things like that happened to me as well. The same thing, like with one little technological like gadget, I was able to like, I've always had a guitar in my house and never really played it. That I've played since I was 16, but like I was always wondering, I didn't have the money to get like pedals and like an amp and stuff. And then when this COVID situation happened, I was like, dude, come on, there must be like something you can just like plug in and like have some software. And I found this like iRig little like connection. Yeah. And like it opened up a whole world, and that like opened up a whole lot of like interest again, like into the whole music world, man. And it's like the technology aspect is just like the one little shitty thing they like they could have made this years ago. Yeah.
It's one little shitty thing connected to like a really powerful machine. It's like,
also.
Mine was basically like Roland has this thing called the Go, which is this little plastic square that's like about 1.5 inches thick that you can plug a bunch of shit into, and then it plugs into your phone. And I'd seen people utilizing them on YouTube streams and shit. And I was like, okay, that might work. So I borrowed one from a friend of mine, plugged it in, it worked. And then I tried to order one, and it was right at the beginning of COVID. And Roland had like a 4-month waiting list because not only did everybody want to buy one, also shipping from fucking Japan was not happening. So there was just so I sat here for a month waiting for one to arrive. It arrived and it was broken. So I plugged it in and it didn't work. So then I looked at it and I was like, there's nothing, like you don't have to download any software into your phone, which means that this thing actually isn't doing anything special. And I was like, what the fuck is it doing? So I basically took it to pieces and looked at some shit on YouTube and realized that after plugging my phone in through the headphone jack and seeing if I could feed audio in through that, it needed to be a powered USB. So I was like, all right, if I get a powered mixer that outputs a USB that goes to a Thunderbolt or goes to a Lightning, you can just plug that right into the bottom of the phone. And the really nice thing is that honestly, the audio quality coming out of the Roland was pretty rough. And the audio quality of my Instagram stream is really, really good.
It is really good.
It's really good. I mean, I have a fucking, I have an SSL interface that it goes through. My microphone preamp and distresses like a $2,500 mic chain. So it's like nothing's rookie. And the just only because I have that gear because I have a recording studio. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll just use my mic pre's and my compressors and, my interface. And the nice thing is that the experience for the person on the end is of such high quality that it only makes the experience richer. So had I used the Roland Go, it would have still been cool, but it wouldn't have satisfied my audio requirements. So the blessings just kept it was one of those things where, necessity is the mother of invention. And I think that's, as artists, this COVID experience has been almost the pressure that has applied to the coal to turn it into a diamond. And you were either going to show up and work out how to make this work for you, or you were going to be it was going to be difficult. And I know it's been difficult for a lot of people. Yeah. And I just consider myself very, very lucky that I was able to pivot in this way that was a bunch of weird technological advances and then just simply the fucking guesswork of how do I do this?
But it's also almost like your life was preparing you for it, in a certain way. You just needed time to be able to sit at home and think and figure it out, which is what COVID gave us.
Very true. I never would have done this prior. I never would have thought that if I plugged into my phone on Instagram, I would develop an audience, in the 10 months. I mean, in the 10 months that I've been doing it now, I've done 440 songs. That's a crazy. Huge amount of work.
That is,
that's each of those is at a minimum an hour, and some of them are, like when I did Prince, it was 2.5 hours on one song. So that's probably 500 hours of programming that has been created that would never have happened without COVID. and 18,000 people on my Instagram, you know, that would never have found me if it wasn't for them also being stuck in their houses and requiring something to help get them through the fucking nightmare.
And then the power is also, there's revisiting these songs. We all have a connection to them, you know? So like we started off saying Meatloaf was, I think, one of the first CDs that I bought, you know, as a 14-year-old kid. So and it was just because there was the bat on the cover and there was a guy flying out of it. Like,
the motorcycle.
It was in the bargain bin. I picked it up. I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. I went to see him live.
Book.
Yeah. I went to see him in South Africa, Meatloaf. It was amazing. It's probably still like one of the best shows I've ever seen, like live.
Oh yeah.
It was insane.
Like a ridiculous show, man. Ridiculous show. I mean, that was the thing when they did that record. No record label wanted to sign that band, and basically, Todd Rundgren, the producer, paid for the whole thing himself, put it out on his own record label, and then just put them on the fucking road. And that's what sold the record. Was people were like, "Why like this fat guy who's not sexy? There's nothing like, you know, you got to think about when that record comes out and all of the pretty people are making records. All of the pretty people are making records, you know, like, and then this fat, 80s, sweaty guy comes out and turns, you know, it's like you go from Simon Le Bon to a guy named Meatloaf. I mean, the dude's fucking name is Meatloaf, for crying out loud. And he proves it and then goes on to make one of the greatest selling record or the highest selling records in the history of the music industry.
It's insane.
And it was just through total and complete hard work and the fucking grind of going from playing to 20 people to playing to 20,000 people.
That's right. And then, you know, and also the foundation, like we were saying before, is just so powerful because they were just world-class musicians. His voice is insane.
It's insane.
All the women that sing with him, which I think there were 3 that they were like all like incredible singers. And so listening to that breakdown, I was listening to driving back like in a misty road. It was exactly the kind of sort of imagery that you wanted, you know, and and it was just like obviously having the visual impact as well. I was just getting goosebumps the whole time. I was almost in tears because I was smelling the house I was living in at the time and everything.
Nice.
So to be able to like have that and then have it like broken down to you at that level, I was just like, I was in ecstasy the whole way through.
Yeah. And then it's like also the enthusiasm that you put into it. I don't know how, like you said before, it's kind of like ad-libbed and improvised, but like how, like you do a lot of shows, like as you said, like over 440 shows. I mean, how often, like, how is your preparation? Is it just like, okay, let's open up these masters and listen to them? Or is it like, okay, I'm going to listen to them once through?
What I used to do so each song, it's going to be backwards because you can't, but each song gets an index card.
All right.
And then there's the title. And then on this side is like all the players and then the producer and the engineers, and then a little bit of info about each one. And just so you know, some of my fans made me this for my birthday, which is absolutely beautiful. They made me this box, but this is my library of cards.
Oh, sick.
Oh shit.
So this is all the cards, and then these are this is alphabetical, and then these are actual. So this is the Beatles envelope. So these are all Beatles songs.
Damn.
So I've done, like extensive research on each song to sort of like have that. And then what I used to do when I did the live show, when I do the radio show, is I go through each song and I find things to talk about. But what I found worked better on Instagram was if I went into it with no clue what I was about to hear, because then you discover it in real time with the audience.
It's more organic.
And because I don't have a time limit, I don't give a fuck. If I spend fucking 90 minutes on a song and you don't want to hang out for 90 minutes, go fuck yourself. It's a free show.
Exactly.
I'm like, fuck you. Like, I'm going to sit here for 90 minutes and work this shit out. So that was why, when the Prince one was literally 2.5 hours on one song. I mean, that's a fucking huge. I'll send you guys the screen grab of that if you want to have a screen recording of the whole Prince one. Yeah. 2.5 hours is a movie that is a pretty long fucking movie. Like when you sit through a Scorsese film, right? Like you sit through a 2.5 hour movie and you're like, no, this motherfucker couldn't edit this shit down to like 1:45, like a 2.5 hour show. But when you watch it, it's all about like, the joy in it is getting to play one piece against the other piece and building it and showing you how all of these things interact. So the nice thing about the Instagram version was that I haven't been listening to things in advance. I go through with the vocal and I chart where the verses, I'll even show you like this right here, please hold. So this is the, hold on, we'll flip the camera. So this is my CD collection. This is what I stare at. But here's Give a Fuck, which is what a message that everybody should have. So like I did, let's suppose it's, this is a good one.
Hide all passwords and the spank.
Yeah, luckily there aren't any. There's no porn. This is simply the. Does it really matter? We'll just pick a fucking song. So Blow Up the Outside. Well, Black Hole Sun. This is a great one. So when I open the session, I will have gone through it. And do you hear that? Like the sirens haven't stopped the entire time.
Yeah, no, it's mad.
It's unfucking believable.
You're in Los Angeles, right?
I'm like literally like this is my view.
Damn.
That's the Hollywood sign right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is like right in the belly of the goddamn beast.
There's another one.
It's fucking city. So anyway, you'll notice. So there's like, each track is always set up the same way, which is drums, bass, everything, and then the vocals at the bottom down here. And it's all labeled. And then I go through it and I just mark where the choruses and the verses are up here with these markers so that if I need to get back to a specific place, I can just click the marker. But that's the only prep I do now. Whereas when I did the live show, I would listen through each individual track to be like, okay, this is a point of interest. I got to do this because the live show is, it's hard for people to sit in a room for longer than an hour a song. It's 2 songs a night. It's an hour a song and then a 15-minute intermission. Mm-hmm. So I have to be really focused on making sure that hour flows really well because I can actually feel when the audience starts to get a little drifty. Mm-hmm. So I have to pre-listen through everything. So there's a lot more preparation for the live show than the Instagram one because I do like the fact that it's cool to discover things in real time with the audience and watch the chat room with people being like, what the fuck? And I'm like, I know, that's amazing. So it keeps it interesting for me, which is ultimately the most important thing because I have to drive a really complicated bus.
Yeah.
It is, like, I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday and he was like, the fact that you can do all of that and keep it flowing for 2.5 hours that's a skill that is not everybody could do that. And I didn't appreciate it until he said it. And I was like, oh, I guess it is kind of something to keeping an eye on a chat room and talking about the music and the facts and keeping it flowing is not, it's a lot of heavy lifting.
It's almost like stand-up comedy in a way. You've got to have the timing right. You got to have the setup, wait for the
reading the room.
Yeah, exactly. Read the room. It's sort of like that. But you have that. I mean, I could hear it a lot, especially in the on the radio show where you're playing off your other hosts. Yeah. And there was a lot of banter and that kind of stuff, which was quite fun to listen to. But there's definitely timing there. I mean, you can hear it for sure. It's like,
that's also like one of the things that I like about the KLOS sessions, which is always fucking difficult.
He says it really well. I think that it's just your tongue tied. That's all.
Yeah, but a marble mouth.
It's hard because all of the American radio stations. So just so you know, on the West Coast they all begin with a K, and on the East Coast they all begin with a W. So on the East Coast, you have like WLIR, WDRE, WKRP, like that thing. And then on the West Coast, you have KFOG, KLOS, KROC. So that it's actually the call letters for the radio station. Yeah. So if you're not from here, exactly, WKRP in Cincinnati, right?
Yeah, that was really that was a pretty dope show, man. That was actually pretty cool.
It's great. Dr. Johnny Fever.
You should start doing also old TV show themes and break that shit down.
If I can find them, I would do them. Like MASH. MASH is amazing.
Oh, man. MPI.
MPI is great. The A-Team had a fucking amazing one. There was a whole series of Jan Hammer did a bunch of them. Mike Post is actually the number one music theme song writer, and his work was just fucking. The 80s was exceptional for that shit, man. You know, Silver Spoons. But yeah, so that's why the KLOS thing exists, is that that's the call letters in the East. So it's easy for Americans because that's how we've always referred to radio stations. So, but if I didn't realize that, if you're saying it from outside of America,
it's just his problem. It's really a problem that he's a little bit dyslexic.
Yeah.
He has some problems.
We decided to make a podcast. So who gives a shit?
To try and speak.
That's the same thing.
Stay in your lane.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, okay, that's it. Thank you, Christian. Bye-bye. But that's like the thing that you were talking about, like that you were like working off of was like every platform obviously has its own like rules and ways to make them. Like, obviously, a live show has like a time limit, and you get to read the energy of the room. And for an Instagram live, you can do whatever the hell you want, which is pretty cool. And I think that's like one of the reasons that like I got into these sessions because of the subject matter, but then like I stay because of the enthusiasm that gets transmitted through this like lifeless thing. And and I think that's a big part of that is because like you're also looking at it for the first time.
Passionate.
He's passionate. It's passion, man. Passion is it's everything, man.
People say Americans.
Thank you. I think that like honestly, a friend of mine and I were talking about how it turns out that the sort of like the gatekeeper of a decent podcast wasn't actually the technology. And there's so many fucking podcasts that I listen to where doing it is not easy. That's why radio DJs are radio DJs. Like we've been trained to sit in a room and talk to an empty space and engage. And we've had program directors who have taught us things about, like one of my program directors, really the only one that I worked for that I had any fucking respect for at all was a total bastard. And he fucking drove me nuts, but also taught me more than anyone else I've worked with as far as a program director was concerned. And one of his things was that you never use first person. You never say I, me, or mine. You always say you. So if you're constructing a sentence where you say, I was watching the MTV Video Music Awards the other day, you don't say that. What you say is, did you watch the MTV Video Music Awards? Right. And by utilizing you've actually created a conversation that doesn't exist. Because that person then says, oh yeah, man, I did, in their brain. And you say, did you see the fucking shitty performance that this guy gave or the amazing thing? And then they in their brain go, I did, you're absolutely right. Whereas if you say I, they're just listening. Right. It's not an active conversation. And it's such a simple thing that completely changes the dynamic of a relationship between a listener and a broadcaster when there is no conversation. And one of the problems that I have with almost every fucking podcast that I listen to from, there's podcasts that I'm being told are the fucking greatest podcasts in the world. And I listen to them and after fucking 4 minutes, I have to turn it off because I'm like, this fucking person has no fucking clue how to do this job. But it's being listened to by people who also don't know what it's like to have that job done well. Sure. And then I listen to podcasts that are done well, and I'm like, wow, now this is a fucking thing. So a lot of the reason, thank you for what you said, because I think that a lot of the things that allow it to be that dynamic and experience is because radio was my number one love. Music is my number one. It's not even, that's just me. Like you just look at my apartment. It's a shrine to fucking music. It's all I give a fuck about. Like this thing, look at this. Half of my apartment is taken up with that fucking thing.
Jeez. That's amazing.
That's like probably 60 grand of my life. And a third of my apartment is full of that fucking robot. Like I could have a couch. I could have furniture, but instead of having furniture, I got that fucking thing.
What's the Atari thing on the floor? There's like an Atari logo? I think that's one of
that's this great little the messenger bag, little Atari messenger bag.
Oh, cool. That's all I saw in the whole thing.
I know, it's amazing. Well done. There's a whole bunch of amazing gear, and all you see is a messenger bag. But the point being that music was my driving force, but radio was the thing that I wanted to do more than anything, more than playing a band, more than fucking, and I would listen to radio relentlessly when I was a kid. I knew the birth dates of all of the DJs that were on the air. And, you know, like my parents said that when I was like 5 years old, I would sit behind the couch and tell them what the weather was that day. Mm-hmm. So they would just hear this like voice in the room be like, the weather today is going to be sunny and shiny. And it was just, that was all I wanted to do. All I wanted to do was to do radio. So now when I look at the Instagram thing, it's actually my favorite radio that I've ever done, because really it is. You could turn the fucking camera off and still be able to enjoy it.
Exactly. Yeah. You know? And then that was like what was interesting before. The first thing you said was like one of the first things you said was you would play drums and then you had a tape recorder. And you didn't say I would record the drums. You said I would record like radio shows. Yep. So that was like, I was like, oh, okay, that's another level. That's like that's an extra step, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like,
it was nothing about like making music myself. It was being able to be the voice in between the songs was more important to me than making the songs, you know. And I'm glad that I did. I'm glad I was a drummer. I'm really glad I had the experience of being in hummmr, because the experience of, you know, that's why the thing that I do now feels like everything that I've done has led up to it. And some fans have said really beautiful things. Like I did a show and this guy came up to me afterwards and was like, you should know that one of the reasons that this has such a beautiful experiences for us is because we know you've actually been in the room and had the experiences that you're talking about. And I have. I've been in world-class recording studios and felt a song get created out of nothing that makes all of the hairs on your fucking body stand on end because you can feel the spirit is in the room. I've had bands break up. I've sat in fucking, you know, conference rooms with absolute assholes of record label people saying the most bullshit fucking things. I've played in front of, you know, like I was on stage with Peter Gabriel when we did the Peter Gabriel tour with PM Dawn. One of the things that Prince B would have me do is they would have me come out. He would see me dancing in the fucking in the wings. And one day he was like, yo, man, you should come out and do it on stage and get the crowd going. I was like, come on. He's like, no, it'd be fucking great. So for the last song, I would come out and he would have me jumping up and down and fucking being basically his hype man. And I got to do that in front of 250,000 people.
Jeez. Holy shit.
But I've also played in a club to 4 people. When I was the lead singer. Like, I've been humbled as much as I have been celebrated, you know, in different ways.
You need both. You have to have both.
I hope
both.
I hope the 4 people wasn't just after 250,000 people. Like,
no,
that would be like depressing, man.
It wasn't right afterwards. It was about 10 years later, but it was certainly a humbling experience. But it was also, you know, having been in a van with a bunch of my friends and driving around the country, which was an incredible experience to be allowed to have.
I mean, it's like one of the recurring topics of all like band documentaries and stuff. Like I was also watching this band called Death, the documentary about this one of the first punk bands. Like
all black guys. Yeah. Amazing.
And that documentary is amazing. And like they're all like the Chili Peppers one and the Nirvana one. It's always like, okay, we played like in this one club. It was like 3 people and they were like all drunk and there was like there was a mirror as well. So it was basically just one person. And it was like, this like crazy. They all start there.
Sting tells a great story. The first show they played in America, they played at a place called the Chance in Poughkeepsie, which I think is like 500 people capacity, maybe slightly more. And he says people always come up to him and say, hey, I was at your first show in Poughkeepsie. And he always says to them, what's your name? And they'll tell him, like, no, you weren't. Because there were 3 people at that show and the band went and sat with them and got drunk with them after the show. So he knows the names of every person that was at that first show at the fucking Chance in Poughkeepsie. So you can't front that you were there because he knows exactly who was in the fucking room at the time. But, you know, those experiences are really, you know, to be able to translate that experience of like, I know what it's like to stand on stage and sing to people like that. I know what it's like to be on a tour bus with 18-wheelers and go from city to city for 3 months. I know what it's like to tour Europe on a tour bus, but I also know what it's like to fucking be in a van with 6 of your friends eating 1 sandwich a day and surviving off of $5 because that's what you do to survive as a band on the road, and to have made records and to have felt all of those things. And, you know, ultimately, I think if there's anything that I was doing that I would pat myself on the back for, it's that I'm still always a fan. You know, like at the end of the day, I am not doing a documentary series. I'm fucking sitting there and being like, this is amazing because this is amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that part of the problem with all of the things that I see in the way people talk about music, and I've been trying to sell this fucking TV show for 3 years, is that everybody only sees music and talking about music as a documentary experience. And I'm like, no.
Mm-mm.
There's another way to talk about these songs. There's another way. Like if you watch a documentary where there's a classic album series, which sort of like you can get on Amazon Prime in America, which is kind of the first thing that I saw where I was like, I wonder if you could do that. But at the time, there was no way that a normal human being, like one of us, could have access to this rich thing of having a master recordings. But the problem is they would play a little bit and then they would talk all over it. And I'm like, and I get fucking, people telling me all the time, like, how can you expect people to just sit and listen to a bass line for 3 minutes?
Yeah.
And I'm like, let them.
There's that Netflix show, like Exploder, Song Exploder, which is like pretty terrible. It's like totally stale. Like you can see, like there was like the REM one. Yeah. It was like Michael Stipe.
People might not listen to it, but you don't need all people to listen to it. You just need the people that are interested to listen to it, and there's always somebody interested.
Exactly, there's always a niche.
So that's the thing. It's like I will listen to a bass line for an hour. Especially if I didn't even hear the bass line, like
and you're not even a musician.
Yeah. But I love music. Like music moves me like all the time. I even shoot to the music when I'm doing like boring jobs. I'll like try to shoot to like one of the bass line or the drums or whatever. Like keep the time rhythm with the flash. Yeah. It makes me feel special or whatever. But it's
well.
dumb.
I also think you can get people to listen to a bass line if you tell them why.
Yeah. But that's what I was going to get to.
You don't just say, here's the fucking bass line to a song and then you play it. If you tell them, listen to this and remember that this was done on this day by this guy who just broken up with his wife, or they just had an argument in the parking lot, or he had just joined the band 2 days before. And in the chorus, he does, and the way he's playing is the same way that James Jamerson played with the fucking, like, if you contextualize it and tell the story of it, like, my big selling point is always like, music is the only art form where you can unpaint the painting.
Yeah.
We can't unwrite a book. You can't unshoot a movie. You can't show the machinations of a scene. The beauty of music is that when you have these recordings, you can show each of the stories inside each of the stories of the song. The song is one story. And then if you have 5 tracks, you've got 5 human beings who recorded it who have 5 stories. Then you've got the engineer who has the story. You have the producer who had a story. And basically all I'm doing is just telling stories.
Yeah. You show the channels.
And that's... that to me is where people miss the boat on trying to, thinking that these things have to be, listened to in a certain way. And it's like, no, man, you just let the audience, if the audience checks out, they'll check back in, because if they're there because they want to experience it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need the shaman that
simple.
kind of brings you on the journey.
Exactly. You're the ayahuasca. But or what I was actually thinking now is he's like a prism. He splits white light into all the colors, and so you can see the colors of the rainbow. So that's
beautiful,
that's
man.
the job. But I wanted to get to something that you said like a minute ago. You were talking about, which is maybe the red line that connects all our podcasts together is creativity, and you're talking about the spirit in the room, right?
Yeah.
Like different people talk about creativity differently. Like some are colder, like myself, I'm a little bit more, I see it more as a rational thing where I rationalize through it. But the idea of the spirit is something that still floats all the time. Like where do you think that comes from? Where do you, what is it?
Well, being somebody who goes to Burning Man, which is nothing that one ever, it's so annoying to be that guy.
This is where the ayahuasca comes back.
It's where it all comes. Like when I first moved to LA, my buddy and I moved from New York together. We worked at the same radio station. We lived together when we moved out here, and he's an even more acerbic New York fucking dude. And we would come home and be like, is it fucking mandatory that at every LA party there's some asshole who went to Burning Man who won't shut the fuck up about Burning Man? And then I became that guy. And now I've been like 8 fucking years in a row. And now I'm like, everybody should go to the burn once, man. But in answer to your question, the burn, dude, in answer to your question, like that's another thing that is, and I'm sure you've both shared in this experience, is that there are moments when I have been working on a piece of music where every single choice is correct, where every single thing I do is, and they call it being in the flow, all these fucking hippie terms for it. But there's just every choice, like and when you hear people like Michael Stipe talking, or Trent, or, any musician that you talk to will tell you that they had a moment where they weren't in charge. Where they are, that in quotes, they're the vessel, or the channel opens, whatever bullshit you want to, attach to it. And I don't know how to explain that experience. I've had it.
Yeah.
Not even like I've watched somebody else have it. I've personally had the experience. Like I did recently a remix for a friend of mine. I hadn't done any engineering for a while. And a friend of mine who does reggae was like, hey man, will you mix a couple songs for me? And I was like, great. So he sent me some songs to do. And I hadn't plugged in and turned on the robot in a while, and I turned it on and I put the tracks into the mix, to the Pro Tools, and I started. And within 3 hours, it was in front of me, and I hadn't made any decisions. And I cannot, for the life of me, explain what that is, other than in hippie bullshit terms of like, I wasn't in charge. My conscious brain made no choices whatsoever. I didn't once think, well, maybe I should put a slightly gated reverb. It was just like,
yeah, just do it.
Like everything was just like the flow.
For me, that's all your experience that you've gained over the years, your countless years. All that, like, you just stored that in the back of your head, and like it comes out when everything is there. You're in the right mood. You're in the right state of mind. The work that you're working on also is able to access that, because I think that's what it is, isn't it? Is that the model in my case, or the light, or whatever it is the thing that brings out all that knowledge that you have in your mind, and you don't have to think about anything. You just do it because you know how to do it instinctively. It becomes instinct.
I think it's also a big point is a big part of it is that you know how to do the technical aspect of your job, like you know how to work the robot. So your conscious mind is doing that, like kind of like breathing. You don't have to think about it.
Think about it.
And then probably you said it was a reggae album. And I'm sure. I'm sure like a lot of. Maybe because like if you listen to a lot of music, you have a lot of different inputs and you try a lot of different projects, that also plays into it a little bit. Like you're not stuck in this one genre.
Yeah.
So you kind of
I think that's all of the technical aspects.
It seems like we're trying to rationalize something, but it's not. I mean, it's just a. That's where, like personally, where I think it just sort of pops up from, and then there might be like also something that's transcendental as well, like involved in it.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's the thing, right? Is that, why does, like you were talking about it, when you're, when you're listening to the song and suddenly out of nowhere, you can smell the room that you were in the first time, or you can even feel the air change around you that feels like the room the first time, or the location, or the person you were with. Like they've done scientific research into. I sit on the board of a music therapy app development company that's now being used in assisted living facilities in America, and it's the reason that we went in that direction was because they've done MRIs on people, and music is the only therapeutic protocol that lights up the entire brain, including the limbic system. And the limbic system is memory and emotion and all of that stuff. And these songs actually hold power in them to make your brain do things that it's broken from doing. And that to me that's the magic of the thing. Like there is an ephemeral magic to art in general, but music specifically, because it has such a power to be a time machine, to be able to, like you can hear a song and begin to well up and get tears in your eyes with nothing that you can explain to anybody.
Yeah,
you know, it happens like a lot lately.
I'm such a pussy. That happens to me all the time.
Like a commercial almost got me weepy the other day just because they hit that one fucking note. I think they just like figured out what the note is, and it's like, okay,
right.
And it's like, what? They're selling like fucking aubergines or something. And then like that happens. Sorry, that happens to me like very often. I'll have like a moment where I connect a certain place with a certain song, even if that's just what I was listening to in that moment. And like when I walk past that spot, I'll get that same exact feeling. Like I was like, I don't know, maybe a Blink song or something. And like the exact verse will play in my head as soon as it's like a Bluetooth like beacon. Just for like no reason. I was just like, okay, shit, flash, like Vietnam flashback kind of thing. I was like, okay, shit. Like every time I walk past that space.
I mean, that's one of the things that was really beautiful about reading people talking about the hummmr experience for them, having, you know, just been fucking five dicks in LA making those songs, to have them travel the world and to have people at like such pivotal moments in their lives when they're expressing their freedom and finding their, you know, like who they are, which is what you're doing when you first start skating and you start to have those experiences of like, this is my culture, to be part of that experience and to have people, you know, send me, because I've sent that EP to probably 50 people off of YouTube, and all of the messages back are how important that song was for them at a moment. And that is what an incredible thing to be allowed to have, that for those people's lives from that point on, something that myself and my friends worked on, not thinking that we would get people in Rio de Janeiro and Italy and Iceland and, you know, all of these places to have memories and emotions attached to 3.5 minutes of our lives that we cared so much about, is, you know, that's magic.
Yeah.
That's beyond explanation. Like, I don't know what you do with that.
And then there's also the added level of like, since we couldn't download the song, I remember actually like recording it onto like from the actual video. So you had that extra level of skate sounds to it.
Amazing. Yeah.
And to hear it without that was like, wait, something's off. Because like I would remember every single trick. I was like, holy shit, I can imagine it. Like,
there's no rail slide into the chorus anymore. Like, I particularly like because we got to, obviously they didn't show us what they were doing prior, so we got to see them when they were on the cassette. And that really cool moment when it goes into the I want to be naked, I want to be free, that whole thing. Wow. And they do like the big slowdown, and the guy does the huge fucking ollie jump on the slowdown, and we were like, this is amazing.
And they put that twice. They use that, and they like all like the last tricks of the section are like repeated, and that was like really weird. Right. Like that didn't happen in other times, like in other edits. And I was like, no shit, like they're getting the editing down, which is like a really good cool thing. Everything was like to the point, like on the beat. Like the first ollie, man, with the first like riff is like that's in my head.
And it's like holy shit,
dude. I'm getting chills like right now. It's crazy.
Man. It was dope because they were like, you know, we didn't have the budget to shoot music videos to do anything like that. So they were like cutting these really cool music videos. And it got, you know, like the first time I watched it, I got choked up because I remember sitting in 1986 in Long Island with my skater friends. You know, I had a fucking Hosoi Hammerhead fucking deck.
Wow.
And we would sit there and we would watch the Bones Brigade videos and the Powell Peralta videos and listen to Husker Du and Bad Brains and all that stuff. And I was like, wow, I've just become one of those bands for a bunch of kids that I'll never meet, because I'm never going to meet the dudes from Agent Orange and be like, you know, so this experience of being able to talk to you is a great gift for me, because it is the equivalent of me being able to experience that experience with one of those guys and getting to be like, there was a pivotal point in my life where you were the soundtrack to my existence.
Yeah.
And as a musician, to be allowed to be that for somebody is a massive gift. So I'm really grateful to you guys for giving me that, because it is a something that as a, you know, artist, you want to know that it's like a validation, but it's also more than that. It's a connection. Because that's also me, you know, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
and I'd literally never really sung in a band before. And the only reason I sang in hummmr was because we couldn't find a fucking singer. And I came out from behind the drum set and was like, fuck it. I can't be any worse than these other guys. And I have my buddy Onion, who was a terrible fucking drummer, became the drummer for the band. And then we did that EP, and we recorded that with a guy by the name of Dave Newton, who'd come from a band called the Mighty Lemon Drops that I've been a huge fan of when I was in college. And it was the first time that I'd ever recorded with a band. And that still is one of my proudest achievements. And the band ultimately, to be honest with you, probably should have quit right after that. As soon as Onion left to go and get married, we should have just ended it. Because we had amazing things happen after that, but the spirit of the band was broken. And that blue demo or that blue disc is like lightning in a bottle. Like, it captures such a special moment for all of us. And to have people give a fuck about that 20 years later there's no greater gift as a musician to be allowed to be eternal in that way. So thank you for, giving a shit, honestly.
He's basically the Phil Collins of the skate world.
Yeah.
Well, that's the highest praise I can be paid, because he is my musical hero.
Oh man, that guy's a legend. I've got we got what was it? It was the album with Mama on it.
Genesis, yeah.
Of course. Genesis.
Mama. It's like still one of my favorites ever. Like, I can listen to that over and over and over.
Yeah, that's like a hauntingly beautiful song.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Like an incredible.
Yeah, that record, that Genesis record, and Hello, I Must Be Going, the blue one by Phil, are sort of simpatico, because Mama starts that one, and then the Hello, I Must Be Going starts with I Don't Care Anymore, which is like the Phil Collins version of Mama. It's like the drum beat and the fucking psychopathic fucking lead singer voice over the top of it. Those two records are perfect albums. Perfect.
Yeah. Dude, before I think we cut it off, I wanted to just ask you one thing. You grew up in the state in England, right? So you were born in England. So you're English.
I was born in England, and then I went to Botswana for 6 years, and then went back to England. Stayed in England till '83, and then came to Long Island. And then I did high school and college in New York, and then I moved out here in 1997 to do radio, and then I haven't left here because the weather's great.
Yeah. I mean, I love Los Angeles. I've only been there the one time, but it's a place where I can see myself living very, very easily. It's the right kind of weather, the right kind of space. But
it's Hotel California, man. You can check out anytime you like. You can never leave. But
the question for me would be, like, how have you felt like a strong influence of the English part of like your upbringing on your musical choices? Like, different to what somebody that's grown up only in America would have perhaps.
Yes, 100%. I mean, I was talking to some friends about it the other day, and I brought it up. I was doing a session for the Depeche Mode Global Group, and they asked me, we had a Q&A afterwards, and somebody asked me sort of a similar question. And I said, the thing that was the fundamentally different about the English music experience is that we didn't have alternative. Like the bands in America, when I came over here and people considered them alternative, were the bands that were on hit radio in the UK. Like we didn't have any sort of dividing line between this was music that these people listened to and this was music that these people listened to. The English beat was on the radio. They were known as the Beat, but the Beat were on the radio right next to Elton John. Like a hit song was a hit song. When I came over here, it was like ghettoized, and you had, album-oriented rock of the adults with, the Genesis stuff, and, Bruce Hornsby and the Range, and John Cougar Mellencamp and all of that shit. And then you had the Smiths and Depeche Mode, and that was on another radio station. And those two never fucking talked to each other. And I think that that's why I consider myself really lucky to have been in England for that the years of like 77, which is year zero, which is when punk shows up.
Yeah.
Through to 83. If you look at the amount of music that's being put out in the UK in those 6 years, it's fucking bananas, dude. I mean, one day you wake up and it's Adam and the Ants, and then you wake up and it's Elvis Costello, and then you wake up and it's Duran Duran, and then you wake up and it's fucking Kate Bush, and then you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just relentless. You know, Ian Dury and the Blockheads, like everything with Ace of Spades from Motorhead, like everything was just firing on all cylinders. And I think it, you know, between that experience and my dad having no filter at all, and him also enjoying so many different genres of music, it allowed me to have a really wide net that I threw, which is one of the things that one of the compliments that I've been paid with what I do now is that it's all over the fucking place. Like, I'll do Pantera one day and then I'll do Donna Summer the next day, and have equal love for both of those types of music, because I don't have anything in my brain that's like, well, I don't want to listen to country. If it's a good country song, it's a good country song. And I tell people, like, back in the day of, you know, now it's CDs, obviously people don't really have them other than this guy. But, you know, you walk into somebody's house and I would see like 10 CDs, and I would just look at them and be like, you know, there's more music available than those 10 CDs, right? Like,
they're probably compilation CDs.
Right, yeah, and they're all like,
now this is what I call music.
Like, now hear this 98. And I was just like, you know, that's a pretty small sample size of the music that's available in the fucking world. And I never had that. I never had an experience of like, I don't want to know what metal has to offer. Pantera blows my fucking mind. Phil Collins is my musical hero, but Pantera is fucking, you know, Vulgar Display of Power is one of the greatest albums ever recorded.
So.
I also happen to love the Beatles' fucking Revolver. You know what I'm saying? Like, why wouldn't you want to have a wide disparate of music to listen to? Why wouldn't you want to like enjoy "This Is the Rhythm of the Night" as much as you would fucking want to hear "Enter Sandman"?
No.
Imagine what you've just cut out of your life.
But that's it's actually quite a good example of how life should be in a way. You know? Like all the problems that we have in general would be a lot 100%. Smaller if people just thought this way and applied it to pretty much everything. Like, try everything, take people as individuals, like, and not as a group of people that you just decide you don't like that thing, you know? And then
like, why would you just monolith rap and be like, I hate rap? Yeah. It's like, I don't know if you should make that statement. Like, I'm sure I could introduce you to some, and once you know, like I love breaking down the rap stuff that I have, because I also like being able to show people the samples of where those songs came from. And you can you can show people the genius of a producer like Premier or the RZA or Prince Paul or Jay Dilla or any of these guys, and show that like Prince B was brilliant at it, of being able to like hear 2 bars of a song that someone else had written and then make that into a whole other thing. Like, how can you say that that's not music? How can you say that's not a creative force? And then when you start, you know, like one of the things that I sort of blew people's minds, which, you know, is to me isn't mind blowing, but like once you like show people that the way to listen, because everyone's like, all these fucking guys sound the same. And it's like, no, once you start to listen to the way that a Kendrick Lamar does his thing, different to how a RZA does his thing, or each of the members of the Wu-Tang Clan. Imagine them rapping as a trumpet solo.
Yeah.
Hear it as a trumpet solo instead of words, and then you'll hear how different their cadences are. And suddenly you're like, oh, that's like the difference between Dizzy Gillespie and Miles Davis. Like, has the Biggie Smalls documentary made it over to your?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
It's just come out. Yeah.
Just came out. Yeah.
So a friend of mine actually produced that documentary, and I got to see an earlier version of it, and I hit him up because I was like, there's a really cool moment in it where there's this, and it's not really a spoiler alert, there's a jazz saxophone player that Christopher used to live close to, who talks about how he used to show Biggie these jazz records, and Biggie was always talking about the drums. And then they do this really cool thing where they they play a track of Biggie rapping, and then under it they play a drum solo, and you get to hear how his vocal style is the drummer. It's not the saxophone player. It's not the trumpet player. You know what I'm saying? Like his cadence, why his cadence was so unique was because a lot of these other guys were an instrument that was the lead instrument, and he was like a foundational instrument.
Yeah.
And once you can, it's all just educating people and being like, I tell people, I'm like, I don't expect you to like every single song that I do. But what I would hope is that you walk away with respect that you might not have had prior. And that's the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not important to be like, like, I don't like that song. Cool. Do you respect that? Do you respect the Bee Gees? Because if you can listen to a Bee Gees song and be like, those guys suck, they're not music, then you're a fucking moron and we have nothing to talk about.
Get the fuck out of my life.
Get out of my fucking house. Now you're just being obstinate for the sake of being obstinate, because it's impossible to listen to them and not hear genius. It's impossible to listen to them and not hear people really working at such a fucking high level.
Yeah,
and that's the same in all art.
One thing, like always talking about the respect aspect of everything. When you play the vocal track on your live sessions, you always ask for people just to be silent, and you're also silent when you listen to it. I think that's like a really beautiful way of rendering as a homage to and paying respects to the singers. Like I think in one of your sessions you said, because I've just started listening to you, so I don't know if you've said this numerous times, but the way you sell it is like these people didn't expect you to hear the voice as we're about to listen to it like right now. Yeah. So please just shut up and like listen and like pay respects to the singer, because like it's intimate.
It's always like you're stripping somebody naked.
100%. And one of the ways that I know that that's true is that if I had to sit there with a fucking bald, tattooed douchebag playing a hummmr vocal from the fucking Don't thing when I had no... I mean, after those EPs, I went and spent $10,000 on vocal lessons after I'd done those. Because I heard myself and I was like, this doesn't work at all, which is kind of why I sent you the Jet Morgans, was because I wanted you to hear like what had happened after I left the whole... Because what I basically did was I left hummmr and went to a friend of mine, and I was like, I just want to make music that isn't about writing hits and trying to get signed. And I don't want to give this to record labels. I want to print up 100 copies of it and give it to 100 of my friends and then never do anything with this ever again. So I know that as a singer, it would be incredibly fucking uncomfortable for me to sit there. And when I send you guys I'll email you the link. One of the crazy things that happened with the Prince one that we did, the 2.5 hours, was that Wendy and Lisa, who were the two female backup singers / keyboard players, members of the gang, Wendy and Lisa both showed up in the chat room at like the 20-minute mark. And then were telling us fucking stories, like typing in stories. And we got to the vocal, and 10 seconds into the vocal, I see Wendy write into the chat room, actually, Prince would have fucking hated this. And I stopped the fucking vocal and I said, this has always been something that I've been concerned about, is that these, especially singers that have passed, are not giving me permission to do this. So this is incredibly invasive, and it could be seen as being disrespectful. And I know in no way, shape, or form want to be seen as being opportunistic or disrespectful in any way. So what I would like is for you to decide if we keep going. And if you think that as one of his closest friends, and we're about to hear you sing harmonies with him through 2.5 minutes, if you decide that this is invasive and disrespectful, then we're not going to play the fucking vocal. And then because there's a 20-second time lag, we waited 20 seconds for her to enter into the chat. No, this is a really beautiful way for you to honor him and his work. And we did it. It chokes me up, man, because it was such a fucking incredibly generous, touching moment for somebody to have admitted that this person would have hated it. This genius would have found this invasive and awful an experience. To have that person then say, but you should keep going, was
powerful,
unbelievable. And then I played the whole song at the end, and the chat filled for 4 minutes with Purple Hearts. Right. And it was just extraordinary. And that's, why you have to be respectful of the singer being laid that naked, especially when it's a vocal that doesn't have reverbs and delays on it. It's even worse. Reverbs and delays were created to allow things to be a little. That's why John Lennon wouldn't allow his vocal to be anything but doubled, because he hated the sound of his own voice. So it is really important to me that we are respectful of that intimacy that we're being allowed to be, the gift that we're being given of being able to hear these brilliant musicians at their most vulnerable. And to disrespect that means that the whole fucking journey has been a waste of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all been a waste of time.
And
we've learned nothing.
And that's something also with art in general is you can find some similarities, because also, like, if you take one of my raw images just out of the camera, that's the idea. It's not the final piece.
Right.
Once it's processed and gone through the retouching and gone through all the things that are in my head that have come out and been put onto paper, then it's finished. But if somebody wants to learn how to take pictures, they need to see that first piece.
Right.
Or like the sketch
and if they want to see the art as you saw it, right? Because
they don't see it as I see it, because I see it in my head. I see it finished. You see the finished version. I see the finished version in my head, because I know where I want to go with it. I know what I can do with what's happening. I know what's being imprinted onto digital or the film, and then I know exactly where I'm going to go with the colors and all that kind of stuff. But it's a good way. Like, I show my assistants or the people that want to know, I'll show them how I understand how to get to where I want to get to.
Right.
Know? And you have to finish it.
And it's always like a little bit of a cringe moment. Like,
yeah, it's terrible. It's obviously like, everybody's huddled around computers now looking at what you're doing the whole time. And it's not just the one picture, because I, like a lot of photographers, but me in particular, I shoot like a sketch. So I'll shoot like 50 images really fast, trying to get like the movement going or whatever. And then I'll just pick one moment out of that. But the other people see everything else, and they see all the shit that comes through, and all the like eyes that are closed, and the weird angles that I was experimenting with, trying to get it right. And you have, you're raw all the time. So obviously a lot of people will just like have everybody away until it's finished, but you can't always have that.
Yeah, like a lot of, one of the things that you were talking about, I think it was a Stone Temple Pilot episode where
when he kicks the band out of the room.
Yeah, like they never heard him sing live, like sing by himself. And I was like, holy shit, that happens. Like my girlfriend does music, and she has the same issues. She doesn't speak English very well. And I'm trying to get her to listen to these things, because it's like, this is exactly like your way of doing it. And it's like, it's normal. Like people do it, like high profile artists do that. So just like learn English, damn it.
Yeah. I mean, when I found out that Scott Weiland, when you hear somebody like Scott Weiland, who had such bravado and walked around like his fucking, as king of the world, to hear that dude was so insecure that he couldn't even let the band hear him naked like that, is, it changes your understanding of that person as an artist, because you realize how vulnerable they must have felt in all of the things that they were doing. And, that vulnerability is we all have those moments. Nobody wants to stand naked in a fucking crowd, and that is one, I think it's probably like one of the most, one of the things that we share with each other, unless you're, live in a place where you just wear, where you don't wear clothes. They don't give a fuck. But for anybody in a Western culture, we're like, being naked in front of a bunch of people is a horrifying fucking experience.
That's a TV show.
Unless you're one of the naked people of Burning Man, in which case they seem to enjoy it like nobody's business.
But that's the thing, isn't it?
Dude.
If everybody's naked, it's okay. It's if you're the only naked person, that's the problem.
I see you like the people of Burning Man who are naked. They to me are the most. I have more respect for them than anyone else on planet Earth, because they are literally just walking around naked, And I'm just like, I could never do it. I'm so uptight and insecure. So it is like that, a vocal on its own is the equivalent of a psyche being laid nude in front of everybody. And, you have to be respectful of that because it's, as I said, like it's the only art form that you can do that with. It's the only art form where we get to share that experience of the vulnerability of the people who made it in each of the steps as they make it. Yeah. And it's really beautiful. And I don't, that's why I have those moments, is because I don't want people to think that I take any of it for granted, because I am incredibly lucky to be able to do that.
Yeah. And it's a gift. It's a gift for us that listen to it. It really is, like, to be able to hear that.
It's a gift for me to be able to provide it for people. I'm the only person who does this. Like Rick, there's a guy named Rick Beato who does a different version of it on YouTube. And there's Song Exploder. Pretty cool. Rick's is great. I know for a fact that Rick couldn't do it the way I do it. And I certainly couldn't do it the way Rick does it, because I don't know anything about music at all. And, Rick's version of it is something that is so specific to Rick. And we're both doing the same thing, which is just to getting people to give a fuck about music in a way that, a lot of people don't give a fuck about music anymore in the same way.
Yeah, and he does it from a much more like technical aspect as well. Like, even though there's passion, but he's like I think he's a producer and a music coach or a teacher. So he does it like he breaks songs down from that.
Yeah, it's much more theory of like a G major over a G, like a sus7 chord which is great if you're a songwriter or a musician or somebody who's trying to learn. But to be honest with you, like the general public will phase out after half of that stuff. But, so to me, it's like, I'm just trying to get, one of the things that I heard from the TV people when I was trying to get the TV show sold was one fucking arrogant asshole who'd never even been to a live show was like, well, I'm fairly sure that if I came to your show, it's an audience that's mostly going to be made up with musicians and people in the industry. And I was like, actually, no, if you come to my fucking show, I'll point out the 4 musicians I know, because I know all of them by name because I've invited them. And everybody else is a member of the general public who is just blown away at the ability to be able to experience music in this way.
Yeah, man.
And the guy was like, really? Yeah. And I was like, yes, really. Like,
on to the next one.
But there are enough musicians. If nothing else, there are enough musicians in the world to watch.
Jeez, even if it was only musicians.
If it was only musicians. It would be enough.
It must be like a couple 100,000.
Must be millions. Must be millions. Come on.
It's going to be, put it this way. If Guitar Center can be all over the fucking world, continuing to stay in business, then there's enough musicians to support a TV show and that's, my audience isn't entirely musicians. I know for a fact it isn't entirely musicians. On Instagram, you can see who the blue check marks are. Those are all the musicians.
Exactly.
That's right.
It's crazy.
This guy right here isn't a musician, and he's like,
but I'm a nerd.
He just loves music, man. You don't have to be a musician to love music.
What I'll do is send me an email that doesn't go to, because I don't know why Gmail just sucks. Send me an email just saying hello, so I have your email address, and I'll send you. There's an archive that has like 25 of my old live shows with an audience. It's got 25 of those, including the one I did with STP is on there. The one I did with Black Hole Sun with David with Michael Beinhorn, who produced Black Hole Sun. So that's a fucking great one. So it's got like 30 of those on there, and then all of the hour-long shows that I did on the radio and all of the 20-minute segments. So you'll have an archive of like 100 hours of them. And then I'll definitely send you the Prince one, because the Prince one is really kind of special.
Awesome, man.
It really is.
Got to back through that shit up. Like, at least a couple of, that's going to be gold, man. That's gold. Purple gold.
Thank you.
Dude, we've done an hour. I've got so many more questions to ask, but I think maybe we save it for another time. So I want to see if you're ever going to
come back. You guys are, it's fucking like what, 2:00 in the morning now?
It's getting there. It's getting there, but it's all right.
It's like midnight, man.
I feel terrible. I'm so sorry.
It's been fantastic. It really has been. And it's been an education as well. So thanks a lot for coming on. And
pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank you for giving a shit.
No, it's been.
Thank you for giving us your shit. And
You're welcome.
man. No, seriously, when all this bullshit goes through, if you ever come out to Milan, you got to come through.
Actually, this is something I was thinking about when we were talking about the shows. I reckon that Milan would, even London would be great for you to do this kind of stuff. And then Milan, for sure, people would be there, and Berlin and France and whatever. So European
Well, here's
tour.
what I'll do. When this is over, I'm going to come to Milan, and you guys are going to gather 25, 30 of your friends, and we'll do a fucking 2-hour show.
Yeah.
Easy,
however many people you can find. We'll do a venue, and we'll sit, and I'll come in, because I like to go to places where I know people, so it's not just a guy with Asperger's wandering around asking where the local hamburger joint is. I can get people to show me around. And I'll come and fucking hang out, and we'll do a Friday and a Saturday show in Milan, and we'll be fucking awesome.
Build it and they will come.
Exactly.
All right.
We'll get everyone involved.
Thanks a lot.
Christian, you're the man.
Thank you so much, guys.
Bye.
It's been a pleasure. Sincerely. Be safe.